What if the most dangerous people in your life aren't your enemies, but the ones who call you friend, the ones with the warmest smiles, that hide the coldest intentions? Have you ever felt the chilling contradiction deep in your soul, an alarm bell you couldn't explain? Forget everything you think you know about spiritual warfare. The greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't against ghosts in the dark. It's fought in quiet conversations, over coffee, with the very people you trust the most. And the most terrifying part, you might be losing this war without even realizing you're in it. Picture this: you enter a room, your spirit bright and full. You spend an hour with someone you love, but when you leave, you feel hollowed out, as if a silent thief has stolen your peace, your joy, your very light. This isn't just a bad mood, it's an invisible wound. And today, we're going to expose the ones holding the knife. That unsettling feeling, that quiet whisper in your spirit, is not your imagination, it's your deepest intuition trying to warn you. Not every smiling face holds a friendly heart. Some, tragically, are demons wearing the skin of someone you once trusted, someone you may even call family. There inevitably comes a moment in our lives when the masks begin to slip. The people we thought we knew, the ones we held closest, start to reveal their true nature, and this revelation rarely comes through their words, which are often so carefully chosen. No, it comes through something much more primal, their energy. It's in the subtle shift in the atmosphere when they enter a room, the unspoken tension in their presence, and the way your own soul recoils, even when your mind tries to make excuses for them. Let's be clear, this isn't about superstition or seeing monsters in the shadows. This is about a very real phenomenon. Spiritual warfare disguised as everyday relationships. You felt it, haven't you? That heavy presence during what should be a light-hearted chat. Those draining conversations that leave you feeling exhausted and confused. That spike of unexplained anxiety that washes over you after being around a certain person. These aren't just signs of toxic behavior. Sometimes they are indicators of something far darker, something more parasitic. If you've ever found yourself asking, why do I always feel worse, smaller, or more drained after seeing them, then this message is not a coincidence. It's a lifeline. We're not speaking of literal ghosts from horror films, but of insidious spirits that can inhabit people, spirits of manipulation, confusion, jealousy, and destruction that work from the inside out. Today, we will unmask them. I will give you the unshakable signs to spot these demons hiding in plain sight among your friends and family, before they take anything more from you than just your peace of mind. Sign number 1, they are spiritual leaks. Just being in their presence drains you. There are people in your life who don't need to utter a single harsh word or lift a finger to inflict harm. Their very presence is a drain, siphoning your spirit like a leaking vessel, and you can't quite articulate why. Imagine this scenario. You walk into a gathering feeling fine, perhaps even optimistic and full of light, but after spending just a short amount of time with that person, your energy plummets, your mood nosedives, your inner peace is shattered into 1,000 pieces. You desperately try to justify it, to rationalize the feeling away. Maybe they were just having a bad day. You tell yourself, maybe I'm just being overly sensitive. But deep down, in the place where truth resides, your soul knows. It knows something is profoundly off. These are the people who never seem to pour anything positive into you. Yet they're always in need of something from you. Your attention, your time, your sympathy, your energy. The conversation is always a one-way street, flowing directly into the abyss of their problems, their drama, their self-inflicted chaos. And without ever giving your consent, you suddenly become their emotional dumping ground. They offload all their heaviness, all their negativity onto your spirit, and then they walk away feeling lighter, leaving you to carry the crushing weight. But understand this, it's not just emotional exhaustion, it is a spiritual violation. Your physical eyes can't see the transaction, but your spirit feels the theft. These are the individuals who wear the familiar face of a friend or a family member. But underneath that mask, there is a darker entity feeding on the light within you. It is the definition of spiritual parasitism. Often, they aren't even consciously aware of what they're doing. But their ignorance doesn't make their impact any less dangerous to your soul. The time has come to stop asking if you're being too sensitive, and start asking why your soul keeps sounding a 5-alarm fire every time they are near. That discomfort is not a flaw in you, it is a divine warning system. Your energy is your most precious spiritual currency. Not everyone deserves access to it. Start paying meticulous attention to how you feel after every single interaction. Do you feel lighter or heavier, inspired or anxious, whole or hollowed out? Remember, demons don't always come screaming with red eyes and horns. Sometimes, they show up with a comforting smile, speak in calm, reassuring tones, and call you family. But if every encounter leaves you more disconnected from your own peace, your purpose, or your power, it's time to recognize this for what it is. This isn't just a toxic relationship. It's a campaign of spiritual sabotage. You don't need to fight them, argue with them, or try to fix them. You simply need to recognize the truth, turn around, and walk away to reclaim what is yours. Your spirit already knows what your mind is desperately trying to deny. Not everyone in your circle is good for your soul, and some, in fact, are actively feeding on it. Protect your peace, guard your energy. Your spiritual life depends on it. And while some drain you silently, others employ a more insidious tactic. Recognizing this energy drain is the first critical step to reclaiming your power. But what about those who don't just take your energy, but actively work to poison your world from the inside? They operate with a different kind of weapon, one that is subtle, skillful, and devastatingly strategic. They twist the truth to divide you. Let's delve deeper into how this spiritual manipulation works. We've unmasked the silent energy thieves and the subtle manipulators who twist reality to isolate you. But what happens when these methods begin to fail? What happens when your spirit starts to awaken? When you see the truth and begin to pull away, this is when they often reveal their most potent and heartbreaking weapon, the spiritual leash of guilt. For these people, the connection was never the goal. It was never about a healthy, mutual, life-giving exchange. It was always about access. They only care that you stay close enough for them to keep pulling from your wellspring, your time, your energy, your loyalty, your light, and the very moment they sense you're waking up, when you start pulling back, setting boundaries, or beginning the sacred work of healing, they don't respond with self-reflection or apologies. No, they don't change their behavior. They change their tactics. They weaponize guilt. Suddenly, a highlight reel of everything they've ever done for you is played back on a loop. Every past favor is recounted. Every sacrifice magnified. They remind you of how much they need you, painting a dramatic picture of how utterly hurt and abandoned they would be if you were to leave. They will look at you with pleading eyes and say things like, "After everything I've done for you, you're just going to throw it all away." They know precisely which words will strike you where you are most vulnerable, your empathy. Do you see the sinister brilliance of this tactic? They masterfully twist your greatest strength, your compassion, into a chain that they wrap around your heart. They convince you that leaving them to save yourself is an act of betrayal, even when every moment you stay is a profound betrayal of your own soul. And so you feel stuck, trapped, not because of love, but because you are terrified of being perceived as a cold, heartless person. But listen to this truth and let it sink into the very marrow of your bones. Guilt is not proof of love. It is a tactic of control. It is a poisoned tool used by those who benefit from your silence, your compliance, and your self-sacrifice. A spirit of light will thank you for your love. A demonic spirit will never say thank you, but it will always, always say, "How could you?" These spirits latch onto your innate sense of duty and exploit it to drain your soul, little by little, until you are utterly exhausted from the impossible task of trying to fix what was never yours to carry. Understand this. They don't want your healing. They want your access. They don't want a partnership. They want possession. They know that as long as you feel guilty for leaving, you will stay, even as it is spiritually killing you. Real love does not guilt trip. Real love empowers, uplifts, and liberates. Guilt, on the other hand, binds you. It tethers you to people who refuse to grow, people who see your evolution not as something to celebrate, but as a direct threat to their control over you. It is not your job to shrink yourself so they can feel secure. It is not your divine assignment to sacrifice your peace simply to maintain their false image of loyalty. You are not their savior, and their emotional baggage is not your responsibility to carry. This is emotional blackmail, and it is a form of spiritual abuse in disguise. The moment you recognize it for what it is, you are presented with a choice. Stay in the prison they built for you with your own guilt, or break free and reclaim your soul. You don't owe permanent, unconditional access to people who only show up when you feel too guilty to walk away. Let the guilt go, and in its place, let yourself grow. This leads us to another, more visceral sign. They trigger a deep, unexplainable anxiety within you. This isn't a reaction to something they say outright. It is a primal response from your spirit, sensing what lies beneath their carefully constructed presence. You could be in the same room with them, the conversation perfectly normal on the surface, But inside you, a storm is raging, your heart starts racing, a cold knot forms in the pit of your stomach. Your thoughts, once clear, become chaotic and scattered, and you cannot for the life of you figure out why. They are smiling, perhaps even laughing, acting completely normal. But your soul knows something is dangerously off. That is not paranoia, that is spiritual discernment. It is your physical body reacting to an unseen, hostile force. It is a vibrational clash that disrupts your peace and sets your nervous system on fire without any logical warning. This kind of anxiety doesn't stem from open conflict. It comes from a fundamental misalignment with an energy that is dark, deceptive, or parasitic. You might try to brush it off, to blame yourself, to label it as overthinking, but your body is an ancient, wise instrument, and it is far more intelligent than your logic. It knows when it is under spiritual attack. Even when your conscious mind hasn't caught up yet, these people often carry a heavy, chaotic energy that they cloak in charm or familiarity. They say all the right things, but their aura screams with unrest, envy, bitterness, or manipulation. You feel it even if you cannot name it. You will leave interactions with them second-guessing yourself, questioning your own worth, feeling as if your inner light has been dimmed by several watts. And that's how you know they haven't just touched your mind, they have disturbed your spirit. This anxiety is often the first and most reliable warning sign that you are in the presence of someone whose energy is toxic to yours. If every time you are around them you feel smaller, more confused, and less grounded, that is not a healthy connection. That is a spiritual siren, blaring a desperate warning. These are the people who seem perfectly nice on the outside, but they carry unresolved demons that cling to them, constantly searching for open doors in you. When you feel this kind of anxiety, do not dismiss it, investigate it. Who are you with when it appears? What shifts inside of you when they speak, when they look at you, when they linger in your space? Your peace never lies, and neither does that tension. Sometimes, your anxiety isn't a symptom to be medicated. It's a message to be decoded. It is your spirit screaming, "You are not safe here." And when your spirit speaks with such clarity, you must listen, because protecting your peace isn't a luxury. It is a fundamental survival skill in this world. Never apologize for removing yourself from a person or a situation that your soul knows is wrong. Even when nothing on the surface seems broken, the unseen world is often much louder and far more real than you think. And finally, the most telling sign of all, they laugh when you cry, and they cry when you shine. This is because your pain makes them feel powerful, and your progress makes them feel invisible. These are the people who pretend to be your closest allies, your friends, your family, but the devastating truth is that they are only comfortable, only truly at ease, when you are beneath them, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. When you are hurting, they feign concern, but if you look closely, they are secretly entertained, dismissive, or even amused. They may not laugh out loud, but there is a glint of satisfaction in their eyes, a smirk they try to hide, a casual shrug at your suffering, as if your brokenness somehow affirms their own superiority. They offer no real comfort, only shallow platitudes or cruel jokes disguised as tough love. But then, let the tables turn, let healing flood into your life, let your inner glow return, let doors of opportunity begin to swing open for you, and suddenly, the person who was so present in your misery becomes a ghost. They grow distant, silent, even hostile. They withdraw their support, downplay your victories, or find insidious ways to make your success about them. You'll hear the familiar sting of phrases like, "Wow, you've really changed," or "Don't let all that go to your head." Worse, they will try to twist your newfound joy into arrogance, your confidence into conceit, all to make themselves feel better about their own stagnation. These are not just jealous people. They are spiritual adversaries cloaked in the warmth of familiarity. Your elevation exposes their stagnation. Your light makes the darkness profoundly uncomfortable. The problem was never that you were doing too much. The problem was that you were finally doing what they never had the courage or discipline to do for themselves. Deep down, they don't truly hate you. They hate what you represent: growth, healing, and a potential that refuses to be caged. When you cry, they don't reach out a hand to lift you up. They observe like spectators at a show, because your pain is their morbid entertainment. But when you rise, when you shine, when you finally walk in your undeniable worth, they feel abandoned, not by you, but by the broken version of you that made him feel superior. That is not love, that is spiritual bondage. These people were never meant to walk with you into your becoming. They were only assigned to your life to test whether you'd stay stuck just to keep them comfortable. And once you outgrow the limited identity that served their ego, they do not mourn your absence. They mourn their loss of control over you. Pay attention to who claps when you win, and pay even closer attention to who suddenly disappears. Because true love, true friendship, does not laugh at your pain or cry at your progress. It celebrates your healing and stands tall beside your greatness, not in its shadow.
Let those who cannot handle your shine stay in the shadows, where they belong, because often, these spirits hate the very mention of God, of truth, of light. Not always with their words, but with a visceral reaction, a palpable discomfort, a silent resistance that grows louder and louder every time righteousness and truth enter the room. They seem fine, until you start speaking about things that are pure, things that are true. Recognizing these signs in the people around you is the first, most crucial step toward liberation. It is the moment you awaken from a long, confusing slumber. This knowledge is not meant to fill you with fear or paranoia. It is meant to arm you with discernment, to empower you with the sacred right to protect your own peace. The path to healing begins with seeing the truth. No matter how painful, it requires you to honor the warnings of your own spirit, to trust that feeling in your gut, and to understand that your energy is the most valuable currency you possess. You are the guardian of your soul's temple. It is your duty, and your right, to decide who is worthy of entering. This is not a call to wage war. It is a call to profound, unapologetic self-love. It is the choice to walk away from the shadows and stand fully in your own magnificent light. If this message illuminated a truth deep within you, please like this video so that its light can reach others who are still sitting in the dark, feeling confused and alone. This journey of awakening is ongoing, and we are on this path together. Subscribe and click the notification bell to join our community, so you never miss a step on the road to spiritual freedom. And finally, in the comments below, please share your own experience if you feel called to. Your story is a testament to your strength, and your courage can be the spark that inspires someone else to take their first step. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for honoring your truth. Protect your peace. It is your sacred duty.